the more people like you, even if they never get a chance to meet you, the more people feel connected to you, the more they think you're kind of cool and funky and fun, the better reviews you're going to get regardless of the situation. So something terrible happens. I had one person stay with me and the toilet completely backed up. It was just a nightmare. And it turned out it was my fault because the septic system hadn't been pumped. And it was the first, I just bought the place. I wasn't totally up to speed with everything. All my fault. And I was just falling on myself with apologies because I felt terrible because obviously if it was my vacation, how I would feel. But they were so nice. They never even mentioned it in their review because they felt she wanted us to be happy. She dealt with the problem really quickly. She was so nice to us. She cared about our feelings. That's the kind of thing where you would think you get a 1 star, but in fact, they gave me a 5-star review. So it all comes down to how responsive they feel you are. I've actually given people a bad review because they were kind of snarky in their comments to me. We stayed at this place in Saratoga Springs where the host was so I think because they had a big house, they'd had parties there. And so here we are, a group of adults. Okay, we're coming. And I told them we're coming to visit one of these people's college children, children in college. So obviously we're adults. And he's just make sure you do this and make sure you don't do that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just I'm not a 4-year-old. We know how to leave a house looking nice. And I'm sure, because that was the thing that bugged me when we got there, the place was not 100% clean. I was just you're giving me all these lectures about leaving the house clean. Well, why don't you, there's sponges and crap around. And I'm just what? So I give him a worse review than the house deserved because I just felt like he was kind of grumpy, So don't be that person. Make sure that when you're furnishing your place, don't make it all generic, have some cool pictures and some funky stuff. And I used to leave little notes in my beach house. We'd always find stuff on the beach in the mornings. I must have had 20 pairs of sunglasses and goggles and stones and shells and weird little toys and things that people had lost through the years, I left them in this big glass vase kind of thing. And I just made a note, found on the beach. And people thought they would look through it. They would just, oh, this is so cool. It's just some little goofy thing that gives the place a little personality. And that's really what you are going for. If your place has a little personality, people are going to be so much more forgiving of a mistake that you might make as a host. Guest safety. So again, I'm a person, you think, oh, everybody who rents is going to be like me. No, I never get sick. Nothing bad ever happens to me. I'm not the kind of person who thinks about the worst possible scenario. So somebody comes and stays in my house. They go across the street to the beach. They step on a shell. They cut their foot. They come back to the house. The peroxide I had was from 5 years before. So they're look, there's no Band-Aids. The peroxide's way outdated. I'm oh my God. So, little stuff, first aid kit. Check if you're leaving any kind of, aspirin or anything, check the dates on your peroxide and, if you leave food somewhere, make sure that everything is current and up to date. And, another thing that happened, people were leaving condiments. People were leaving condiments. So, everybody goes out and buys ketchup. So they're all leaving their ketchup there. And so there were 3-4 bottles of ketchup and mustard and crap. And I wasn't having the cleaners to take the time to go through them and throw them all out. And then people started saying, look, I came and there was no room for my stuff. Okay, so number one, if you're going to leave condiments, take a picture of the condiments so that people will know there's olive oil here, there's salt and pepper, you've got your ketchup and your mustard and your stuff for your hot dogs and whatever. Let them know that because then they won't go buy it and you won't have this problem. And also, make sure that you're throwing stuff out, that you're cleaning, that you're leaving room, and you're making sure that people, especially when you have a place that people might want to come and stay for a week or more, they're going to have lots of food and they need space to put that stuff.